Though, but this here says Doku, Haaland, Alvarez, Pep built quietly. Hamza, I mean, you shouldn't have been 1-0 down. You were dominating them. I had the game on, but you came back. Brilliant performance from City today.
Yeah, absolutely amazing City performance. To go to West Ham away is one of the most difficult. The way they're playing, they beat Brighton so easy. Like they beat them 4-1 or something like that, 3 or 4-1. And to me, before I faced them, we had injuries already. We had Grealish out. We had John Stones out. KDB was injured. We had, I think, 4 or 5 injuries already. And we came there even with 2 goalkeepers on the bench. And I was worried. Pep started a lineup of quite short players. I'm not physical players. So I was worried, like thinking that Paletta, Souček will bully us. But Pep had the plan. We had them on lock.
Got my small violin out for you, bro. Sorry.
West Ham were very, very, very lucky to get that goal. Very lucky because we had them on lock. They were not going anywhere. We pinned them down and they managed to get that goal. But once we came back, listen, praise to baby Doku. Jeremy Doku was absolutely outstanding. Like, what a performance by a youngster who's only 21 years old. We signed him from Rennes and no one wanted him. And we went for him. And this is what City. We developed players so well. And our manager is so great. Didn't even get time to work with him. And he was absolutely impressive today. Every time he got the ball, he was cooking Kufar. West Ham were under the ropes. We started the game second half. We scored immediately. I knew West Ham were panicking. They knew that's a scoreline for them. And once we got the second goal back, Matthew Nunes came on. The game just changed. And Man City showed why they're dominating. Why we have to congratulate again Pep showing why he's making this league look easy. And no disrespect to anyone. I've been watching Premier League for many years. And I've never seen a team getting dominated. What Pep is doing is just incredible. Like a coach like this is why I say he's the greatest coach is because of this. You just don't do this. He's absolutely humiliating the Premier League, humbling every single season. The guy is absolutely a winner. This is why I knew once you got the hands on Pep, you trust the manager. You know the guy who's gonna get you the win. You know it. It's the guy. For example, you guys were talking about Glazers. Look, Arsenal wanted Kroenke out. As soon as Arteta comes in, he stabilizes the ship. As soon as Tottenham fans want to leave it out. They get a manager, the right manager. It's completely stable ship. We see the same thing as Liverpool fans.
It's still Levy out, by the way.
No, that's incorrect.
You're Hamza. I'm sorry, I gotta stop you. That's disingenuous.
So you have to give that credit to managers as well.
No. The managers deserve the credit, but that's disingenuous to say because when Arsenal got Arteta, it wasn't just that it changed. When they switched over to Josh Kroenke to me be the main person running Arsenal, boom, things started to change. When FSG came in, they got Klopp and decided to use Michael Ward and his brethren to funnel to do the football strategic role. Look what happened. The football strategy. Now with Levy and Spurs, they have decided to back Postecoglou and actually go with the vision that they have as a team and as a club. So to say that it's just because the managers have come in and that's why the things turn around. No, it's more than that. Everything behind the scenes has changed. At Man United, nothing changes. When we replace Woodward, we replace it with a guy who works underneath him who part of the same system. As much as I try and give Murta a backing and not trying to get at him like most fans, he's been at Man United for 10 years as well. We've not had a fresh approach since Fergie's left. So you can't just say it's just a manager.
Can I ask Hamza a question? Hamza.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So, by your logic then, does Pep Guardiola have the same success that he's had at City if he walked into the Man United team instead of going to City?
I've been asked that question. I think if Pep's the winner, managers like Ferguson have won under Glazers, and Pep Guardiola, they're winners. They would walk into any organization, especially United. If you have the backing of that Ten Hag backing, he's definitely winning, 100%.
No. Specific. Okay, similar to what Terry's saying.
Not
I'm asking
domination,
specifically.
but you win.
I'm specific. That's what I'm saying. So Man United standards is dominant. Yeah, Man City have had that period. If Pep Guardiola, by your standards, comes into this same Manchester United setup with the same situations, because again, by the way, this is not a hate, but this is a genuine realization of what Manchester City have been able to do. Manchester United should be able to do the same. So, for example, when Pep came in, he changed 2 goalkeepers, got a third one. He's had certain signings that he's brought, like Nathan Ake, didn't see a minute of time for whatever, but there was no pressure on that whatsoever. He's had the opportunity to get some signings in and then replace those same signings with the same amount of money spent or more. Manchester United have not been able to do that, any manager that's come in. So do you think Pep comes into this Manchester United team at the same time he went into City and dominates the same way he has been able to at City?
I think the difference. I've seen him what he did at Barcelona when he took a youth Busquets from Barcelona B and decided to dump Yaya Toure. I've seen him dumping Eto'o and getting Pedro from the youth team.
Can you answer the question then? Would he have won? Would he have won as many trophies?
He wouldn't have won many trophies, but he would have won the Premier League, at least 2 Premier League. I believe his talent.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I think he might have won in the last 7. I think if he was the manager of Man United, Pep, over the last 7-8 years, I think he might have won 2. But I don't think he wins, does a 3-peat. I don't think he does a treble. I don't think he does a domestic treble. I don't think he gets 100 odd points. What you also said earlier, you said Fergie, they're winners everywhere they went. It took Fergie 5.5, 6 years to rebuild Man United. Again, his job was different. He was the manager of the football club. So he did what modern day footballing directors do as well as coaches. So he couldn't win with Man United straight away. He had to fix something that had been broken for over 20 years. So I get where you're coming from. And like with Spurs, I think young Daniel said it perfectly with Spurs. It's a great start, but most Spurs fans know to get to where they want to be, there's still a long way to go. You know, there's going to be bumps in today. If it wasn't for that great comeback, today would have been a bump in the road. There'd be a very different feeling today, you know, and they were very good today, Spurs. But just look at some back of the highlights since I've been on here. They deserve to win the match, even though they won it late. Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, I get where you're coming from, Hamza. Sunshine, don't be glazer out whilst you're wearing the shirt. Even if it's a fake one, it is free advertising. Just shut up, shameless, is what Nabil says to you, bruv.
Interesting. I mean, again, like I said, even talking about Man United as promotion, so wherever you go is promotion. For me personally, I stick on the angle that there are people who will support certain levels. I can never tell a person how to support their club or their situation, but the reality of it is Man United is not Halifax Town, so therefore the community of Manchester United could never actually stand together and actually never buy a thing. So for me, I'm happy to buy replicas because nothing goes into the club, and I'll continue to do that. That's standard procedure for me.
There we go. Nabil says, Hamza, will you go back to supporting Arsenal ever?
This guy, leave me alone, man. Let me
leave him alone. Brighton should challenge for the top 4. Listen, the commentator watching the stream I was watching said he thinks Brighton are in the title race this year. He thinks that's how good they are.
What commentator was that?
I was watching. I don't know. It's Satanta Sports in
I did hear that.
You know.
Yeah, I think that's a bit much because of who City are, but they're in the top 4 race. They are in that top 5 race. They are there. They are there, Brighton.
Brighton are in the title race, then we're in the title race.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if they're in the title race, Spurs are in one too, bro. Don't worry about that.
Terry has on Never a Foul said, if you don't win today, questions need to be asked of Ten Hag. What's your feelings on that one? Big up you and everyone. We spoke about it a lot on the show, King. I understand it and I get it. I can't help but look at the bigger picture. And maybe for people that have only come to socials in the last year or two, they don't feel the same as me. But when you know what's funny about you younger people in general is that when you have less life experience, you react to things differently. I remember when all the protests were happening during lockdown. Some of it was for BLM, some of it was for literally lockdown, everything else. I remember saying to my dad, I've never seen the country like this. And I hadn't. My dad's like, well, I'm nearly 70. I've seen this happen 3 times in the last 70 years. It wasn't like a big shock to the older generation because they've seen this stuff before. So for me, I understand the knee-jerk reaction is to say, I've criticized him, yes. Sack the manager, a new guy will make us better. I still say this, though, and you won't get this on TalkSport. Rivals don't want to hear this because it doesn't suit the narrative. If we ignore the root cause problems, sacking managers, selling players, buying new ones does not solve the issue. Does not solve the issue. Taking paracetamol to get rid of a brain tumor will never work. You won't have a headache for a little while, but it will never solve the problem, my friend. But look, they're right to question Ten Hag, no doubt about it, but bigger issue. By the way, Johnson was robbed of a debut goal, came on and finished it so clinically. He's going to score on the break against Arsenal or Liverpool. Book it.
It was offsides. To be fair,
were you impressed with his cameo today, Jacob, from Johnson?
I think he showed us all the things that we saw as fans looking in at his Nottingham performances, which was he can get in behind. He's got blistering pace, obviously second fastest in the league last year. Honestly, didn't look like the moment was too big for him. I'm a little bit glad that he didn't actually get the debut goal, because in past times players come in and they get the debut goal, and then that's the expectation. Anytime you touch the ball, we expect you to score. With the likes of Steven Bergwijn, that happened. He scored his debut versus City, I believe. And then fans, anytime he didn't contribute to a goal and assist, it became, oh, well, you did it on your debut, so no excuse here. And I like the fact that he came on. The moment didn't look too big. He didn't look too upset either. He kind of knew he was offside just a little bit. I think if they do change that offside rule, we'll see goals like that just happen to go through, because he would have been offsides if they do go forward with that new rule they're rumored to go with. But Brennan Johnson, I honestly wondered if he was going to start, because that was Ange Postecoglou's #1 priority in the at the end of the window there. And if that is true, you have to assume that he already has some kind of plan and idea with what he wants to do with that player and how he's going to fit in. Honestly, as a super sub coming in after Kulusevski has worked at the left back for 60, 70 minutes, that's kind of the perfect idea, is to have a kid with blistering pace who can finish. He did look a little shaky in his international break for Wales, but overall, very much pleased. I think that he impressed in a lot of different areas, and he showed. There was a moment where I was like, "Oh, Brennan, why'd you do that?" But he won the ball back, and it was this moment, right? Kind of if you're the goalkeeper for Sheffield, it was to his left corner of the box, is at the top right there. And there's a moment where there's two different defenders, and it looked like he could have been soft with the ball, and he really stuck with the play and was able to retain possession. There's some bright things I saw from the kid, and nothing really to harp on that I didn't like.
Do you know what's really interesting about it? They say when champions, it's an MMA thing. They say when a guy wins a belt, they say typically they believe there's a 20 to 30% improvement in that fighter. That can sometimes happen to players. Mane, when he joined Liverpool, the improvement in him instantly was palpable. So I'm very intrigued to see whether Brendan Johnson is one of those individuals that goes to a bigger team, a better team, and you just see like an elevation of his standards. So yeah, it's going to be an intriguing one to watch. This here says, fair play to Hamza. He is a diehard City fan, supported them the day they came back against Gillingham. Was at Wembley with Big Steve singing Blue Moon, is what Paul says. Jerome here, who's a Tottenham fan, hope you're well, brother. He says, the City fan has to be the most patient person. He's not said a single word for ages. I'm sorry to Spurs. And listen, there was a point today where I was like, all three of us are going to lose. Fuck's sake. When Spurs were going to lose, I was like, at least I'm not the only one who's miserable today.
Hey, I was watching the game with my grandma and she went insane. And I've never seen her scream like that in ages.
Oh, nice. When else did grandma scream, generally?
You don't want to know.
My big nan, her name was Big Nan. She didn't scream, but she just had a way of telling you off that it was scary, bro. Like scarier than my dad. Do you all miss David in goal? Look, I think he might have saved some of these shots, but it's a narrative. Yeah, maybe.
David being in goal doesn't stop us from losing the games that we've lost. I think it's a club thing.
Maybe a couple less goals conceded, but I think we still lose some of these matches.
Doesn't concede that third goal, but that's
that third one. Yeah, 100%.
Next week will be a date to the match. When Arsenal. Next week will be till date the most even match between Arsenal and Spurs.
It ain't gonna be even.
I mean, we'll find out next week if that's
I'm looking forward to that one. At least that's the game I don't have to worry about. Sunshine question.
We're not losing that match, by the way, Terry. I know you're reading a super chat.
I love this confidence.
We're not losing that match.
We're not losing as Arsenal.
We're not losing with Smash.
AJ, clip it up, baby.
It's time. We need to
Nabil here says, Sunshine question. What's the main problem at Man United?
It's quite evident. Our owners have been for the longest. But I'm assuming I don't want you to waste your money spending more. Sorry, Terry. So again, to your point, it's a case of our owners will always and forever be our biggest issue. The reality of the situation you're trying to push out there is that our fan base is too big to all pull in the same direction. So I live in reality world and go, I will put my money on nothing on Manchester United. If I get tickets, it's for free. If I get into a box, it's for free. My shirts will always be replicas. If most of our fan base actually chose replicas over actually funding the stocks of United, we'd be in a better position. But again, that's not for me. So don't waste no more money on that, broski.
I hear you, bro. Should I can't pronounce the guy's name? Is it Belander going goal? I wouldn't drop Onana right now, personally, Lucy. But thank you for the super.
No, bro. People are
no, I wouldn't do that just yet. Put fresh fruit in a molded and rotten box, and it will be rotten in an instant. As long as we have the Glazers, players will go to bad, so to speak. I agree. I completely agree with that. I know rivals don't, but it's simple. Like, Terry, if you'd swap Edison for Onana, who would have a better season? Who would have had a better season? Again, Onana would look better in the City system, and Alisson would come to Man United, and within a few months wouldn't look as good. Mo Salah would come to Man United, and his GA would drop significantly. KDB, if he came to Man United 3 or 4 years ago, he'd have started how Bruno did, and then it'd have dwindled in the same way.
I disagree. I think if we got Salah, it's different. That's the one I can't agree. I get what you're trying to say, but
I truly listen. I think if Pep came here, he'd win us some things, but he wouldn't win like he's winning at City and Barca and Bayern Munich. I think that the greats would still score goals here. Rashford scores goals here, but I just don't think they would do as well as better teams. Personally, I really don't.